Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. Yahweh being the true powerful name of the Heavenly Father, which means He is. Yahweh Shai being the true name of His only begotten Son, which means He saves. The one of the people in this world originally called Jesus Christ, Ba'Shem in the name. Rakak Wadash, Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, along with the bishops, regional heads, and elders who rule well. And salutations of much love to the rest of you. This is here, Akim pushing the word and truth and sincerity. This is the cleric Azar coming at you with another lesson. And I am continuing in my lot to bring you my ongoing series from excerpts of Hollywood, This Factory of Perverseness. Another observation of predictive programming, how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. A correlation is an observation of a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. I use movies to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use them as an example to bring out those similarities and those correlations. To quote Cecil B. DeMille, the greatest source of material for motion pictures is the Bible. I'm not sure what I'll be calling this lesson. Yeah, I'll probably be calling this lesson the title of this particular film that I'll be going over. Things to come. Okay. But basically, man, I tell you, sometimes I think I got a wide knowledge of films, and sometimes I got to go back into the theatrical library that I don't even own sometimes, and see what has come out before me. This particular film came out in 1936, and it's called Things to Come. But it was on a documentary that I got from Arrow Video. I had purchased a director's cut of Waterworld. And, sometimes I'll just go back and get films that I've had maybe just on DVD or even VHS. And I'll go back, especially if it's like a director's cut, because I want to see what the original intention of the director was, or what his original vision was. So anyway, I watched this Ulysses cut, and it was kind of decent compared to the original cut or the theatrical cut. But there was this particular documentary on it, and Salakia, I forgot to write down the name of it, and I got to get the Blu-ray out. It's called Global Warnings by film critic Glenn Kenny, and explores the subgenre of ecologically themed end-of-the-world films. So I popped on this documentary. He was going over all these different end-of-the-world scenario films I never heard of. And so, hey, I'm probably going to be doing a video a video a day of these particular films that are in this particular documentary, because there's a lot of little jewels that are being spread out, and it's coming from the scriptures, of course. But let me go ahead and play this, and I'm going to bring out some scriptures, okay? But he's actually going over this film called Things to Come. Let me play this.
View of an American born in the tail end of the 1950s who watched a lot of movies on television. There was the 1936 picture Things to Come, which was directed by William Cameron Menzies from a story, treatment, and script by H.G. Wells. In Things to Come, the world ends and is revived more than once. It falls as a result of war. Then it falls as a result of disease. And then we go into a future where there's a large debate about how far progress should go and how far science could go. And that ends up being the main point of the movie, is relative to what was going on in 1936. The movie was notable for its design. William Cameron Menzies was a great production designer as well as a director, and the futuristic designs of this were, in a sense, an answer to what was done by Fritz Lang in Metropolis, which is a film that H.G. Wells himself dismissed as nonsensical.
All right. Now, you got to check out the Wikipedia page. But the reason why I was doing this lesson, because I'm in this particular scene where this guy's running toward the radio, and you got to keep in mind now, there was a time before the internet. There was a time before the television. There was time before, even VHS recorders and things of that sort. And people had to go and get their information from the radio, okay? But this film came out in 1936, and this is like 8 or 9 years before my father was born. But it's a 1936 British black and white science fiction film, directed by William Cameron Menzies and written by H.G. Wells. And now H.G. Wells is also the one who did like the stories like Time Machine, War of the Worlds, and so forth, okay? But when you skip down to the plot, I'm just going to read into just a little bit, just the first two paragraphs. In 1940, businessman John Cable, living in the city of Everytown in southern England, cannot enjoy Christmas Day as the news speaks of possible war. His guest Harding shares his worries, while another friendly, over-optimistic Pippi Passworthy believes that it will not come to pass, and if it does, it will accelerate technological progress. An aerial bombing raid on the city that night results in general mobilization and then global war with the unnamed enemy. Cabal becomes a Royal Air Force pilot and serves bravely, even attempting to rescue an enemy pilot he has shot down. The war continues into the 1960s, long enough for the people of the world to have forgotten why they are fighting. Humanity enters a new dark age. Every city in the world is in ruins. The economy has been devastated by hyperinflation, and there is little technology left other than greatly depleted air forces. A pestilence, known as wandering sickness, is inflicted by aerial bombing and causes its victims to walk around aimlessly in a zombie-like state before dying. The plague kills half of the humanity and extinguishes the last vestiges of government. Now, you got to go check this out. I'm not sure. I may have to check this film out myself. But this is all scriptural. You could just see how H.G. Wells, if somebody wasn't familiar with the scriptures, they would sit back and say this guy's ahead of his time. But when you read the scriptures correctly, you understand that these are all things that are predicted in the Bible, specifically what Yahweh Shah spoke of. Okay. Let's go into Luke chapter 21, verse 9. And let's read out of the New Living Translation, okay? Luke chapter 21, verse 9, it reads, and when you hear of wars and insurrections, and when you go into insurrection, it's a violent uprising against an authority of government, don't panic. Yes, these things must take place first, but the end won't follow immediately. Then he added, nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what we're basically experiencing now in real world time. All right, Luke chapter 21, verse 11. There will be a great earthquakes, and there will be famines and plagues in many lands. And there will be terrifying things and great miraculous signs from heaven. Okay, so we probably got more types of signs coming from the heavens and so forth. Okay, we already got certain plagues that we've already had going back to 2020, but there's a new thing on the horizon, that Drain X. That's what I'm coined it so far. Okay. Things of that sort. And so also, Mark chapter 13 and 7 backs it up. Now keep in mind, these are Yahweh Shah's words. And you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. So currently, right now, we have the threat of an inside insurgency with all the migrants that are coming in, and we also got the threat of a Chinese hack or even a Chinese EMP. Okay, so that's a particular threat as well. All right, and let's see what else we got here. Let's go into the Apocrypha, and let's go into 2 Ezra chapter 16. All right, we're going to read verse 18. 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 18 in the Apocrypha reads as such. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginnings of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? So Ezra was asking what he's going to do, because this is a form of reincarnation, because he knew he would be living in this particular time, because he would have come back. Okay, no matter, there's no telling where he is at this moment. Okay, but most likely he came back in the same lot as his prophet that he was in this time where he was writing this. And as you can see, I spoke of the famine, great death, and especially with this war that's brewing in the Middle East now, because if they're even talking about bringing back the draft, which they are going to bring back, there's going to be that many people that are going to be over there dying. And even in this particular film, the things that come, it talked about how long this particular war had lasted. When you read down further, it's even talking about Iraq. So it's not just keep in mind, this is written back in this is from a 1933 novel, all right, with a movie that came out in 1936. And it also talks about a global war in this particular film, okay? So I might have to put this on my watch list and check this out and see it in its entirety, all right? I'm not familiar with the director, but I'm definitely familiar with H.G. Wells, okay? Let's go back into the scriptures, though, okay? As you can see also in the plot, it talked about the economy being devastated by hyperinflation, which is going to come here to America very soon, especially when you talk about the U.S. petrodollar and the U.S. dollar not going to be a reserve currency pretty soon. You got to look up, what's going on with those BRICS nations and so forth, and what's going on with the CBDCs and things of that sort. Okay, Let's go back into the Apocrypha, 2 Ezra chapter 16. Let's read verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Let's skip down to verse 33 in 2 Ezra chapter 16. Let's skip down to verse 33. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Here's the point here, verse 34. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So, hey, when hyperinflation kicks in, and these storehouses or supermarkets get emptied out, hey, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have a great famine. Okay, and Yahushua warned us of this. Let me get that. The storehouses shall be found empty. Give me just a moment here. Okay, that's great. That's actually lower down in verse 22. I've skipped over that. So Salakia, I've got to go back. 2 Ezra chapter. Oh no, it's a whole different. Yes, it's a whole different chapter. Salakia. 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22, and I'm going to end it on this. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown; the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, so as you can see, look how far back this particular film was, and it talked about these things that are to come. Okay. And this is all from the scriptures, all right? So, hey, what happens is these Hollywood producers and these novelists and things of that sort, specifically H.G. Wells, because he has a certain background in knowing this kind of information, because he was like an insider, all right? He used these kind of things to make up these novels and basically make a fortune. Meanwhile, the masses don't know this information.
As a result of war.
Hear that? That's strictly the war and rumors of wars. That's strictly from the Bible, okay? But I'm going to end it on that. I just want to share that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and adore in these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.